Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something we really don't ever really like to talk about because we're afraid if we do, then it might happen in a game. But we're going to talk about fights, about what happen when they occur. How do we not really prevent it, but how do we just kind of control the chaos without really doing anything? Because we got to remember, once a fight gets to a certain point, there's really nothing we can do at that point. We just become observers who write down names. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll get into this. And one thing I do want to talk about is it's very important to pregame, covering your pregame, what to do in case a fight breaks out. Like I said, a lot of times we don't like to do it because we're afraid we're going to jinx it, and then that means a fight is going to happen. But it's important for us as officials to actually talk about in pregames what happens when a fight breaks out. What do we do? What do we not do? Because we're going to see in this film a lot of officials do things that we are not supposed to do. A lot of officials do things we are supposed to do. They do the right thing. But a lot of officials, they kind of get in the middle and they do stuff that we really don't want to be doing when a fight occurs. So first, let's talk about what not to do. You don't want to try and break it up. There comes a point in a fight where when it happens, it's just happening. And there's nothing we can do about it. So we never want to try to break it up. And related to that topic, we don't want to get in the middle of it as well. Fights are fights. There's nothing we can do in a fight. When you get in the middle of it, you put yourself at risk of accidentally getting hit. And you also put yourself at the risk of a player who's maybe mad at you about something, taking advantage of the situation. So we never want to get in the middle of a fight. And we definitely don't want to lay hands on any players. We certainly don't want to be pulling them, pushing them, or anything like that. But I would even go as far as to be extreme about it and do not lay a hand on the player whatsoever. Even just to kind of put a hand on the shoulder to calm them down, especially in the middle of a fight. Just don't do it. You put it, even just put your hand on the shoulder pad. They may think you're another player, turn around, club you, and now we got other issues to worry about. But just don't lay your hands on any players. So here's what to do. Take a step back. Wider, better. Just take steps back from this. You want to get out from it. You definitely don't want to be anywhere near it in case you just don't want to get a stray blow or anything like that. But we also want to be back. We want to be taking notes. We want to be writing down numbers. And that's what we're doing. We're writing down numbers of players there's two types of players we need to write down numbers for. We need to write down players who come off the sidelines, because if you come off the sideline during a fight, you're automatically ejected. And then we need to write down the numbers of players who are actively participating, who are, for lack of a better word, belligerents in this battle. So what we're looking for in these active participants, we're looking for players who are in there, they're shoving other players. We're definitely looking for players who are throwing punches. Remember GHSA, you just have to throw a punch in order to be ejected. You don't have to land it, make any kind of contact. You throw a punch, you are ejected. Plain and simple. We let the coaches come on this field. We let them do what they need to do to get these players to break it up. Obviously, if a coach starts, playing, throwing punches, obviously, then we just write it down. Don't get in the middle of that. But we let the coaches come on the field, break up the players. But all players on the sidelines, they have to stay on the sideline. If they're already on the sideline, stay on the sideline. Ideally, even the players who are on the field will go on the sideline. But, things happen. They're not going to do that. So let's look at some plays of when fights occurred. This is one, truth be told, this probably been building up throughout the game. Sometimes we can do some preventive officiating to prevent stuff like that. But sometimes this stuff just happens. And there's nothing we can do about it. Or who knows, these are teenage boys. There may be nothing leading up to this whatsoever. But you got to hear, they bow up at each other, they start shoving. So now we got, we at least have 2 dead ball penalties from the 2 shoves like that. So, there's a dead ball penalty. There's another dead ball penalty. So, someone asked me one time, does this right here constitute as a punch? I'm going to say no. It's not, to me, that's not a punch. It's more just shoving his head to get out of the way. I would not constitute that as a punch. But you see officials coming in. If you want to squeeze in a little bit, kind of like nothing, we're not at fight territory yet. So if you want to squeeze in a little bit, use your voices. You can use a whistle if you want to. At this point, a whistle's not really going to do anything. So use your voices. Tell them to break it up. But once it turns into a fight, yeah, let's get a couple flags on the ground. We probably really should have already had a couple from the dead ball. But if you want to get a couple flags on the ground, we don't want to. You don't want to, make it rain. We don't want, if you get 12 flags on the field, because, we don't have to have a flag tied to every player who's getting ejected or get penalized. Just a few flags on the field, let it know there's going to be some stuff afterward. And after that, we're stepping back, we're pulling out the notepads, and we're writing down numbers. So I see 3 or 4 officials in the frame. They're all got their eyes in the middle. Let's hope we have some eyes on the sideline. Typically, what I always suggest to do, it works better in a crew of 7 because you have 3 in the middle. The officials who are already in the middle, so in a crew of 7, be umpire, referee, back judge. And then I would maybe pull in one of the deeps from wings. Depends on how big the fight is. But those officials are monitoring what's going on in the middle of the field. So they'll be writing down the numbers of players actively participating in the fight. Your 2 wings and your 2 deeps, they're gonna put their eyes on the sideline, and they're gonna be writing down numbers of players coming off the sideline. So those are kind of the 2 things we want to monitor. And the reason we're also monitoring the sideline, yeah, if you come off the field, you come into the field, you're ejected. But the point of a fight is to die down the tensions. When you got players come off the sideline to participate in the fight, you're just putting fuel on the fire rather than trying to kill it. So that's the reason it's so important to get those numbers coming off the sideline. My ideal situation is what you want to do. Crew of 6, maybe a little hard, cause just 2, depending on how big the fight is, just 2 in the field, writing down numbers may be a lot to ask. So maybe you pull one of your wings. You want a deep writing down numbers because they're further downfield. So you at least want your 2 deeps writing down the numbers because they have a better view of that sideline, completely up the sideline. Wings would have probably players behind them, so they can't see the whole sideline. So you definitely want your deeps writing down numbers. They can see everything. If you're a crew of 6 and the fight's pretty big in the middle, then you may want to pull one of your wings or both wings to write down numbers back to participants, and your deeps are writing down sidelines. But yes, at this point, we're not doing anything. Officials doing a pretty good. I would even get further back. I only see one notepad out. Everyone's gonna have a notepad out. I mean, there's really nothing we can do at this point than monitor and write down names. And then, let me add, after everything's over, when the fight's died down, when it's over, all officials get together as long as we need to. Swap names or swap numbers of players you got participating, who came off the sideline, who's being ejected. And take as long as you need, because we need to get that right. We can't rely on the state office in the Monday morning to help us. So here you just got a player who just gets mad. He gets up and he's just mad. And in the other team's sideline, was in his sideline, but now you got a punch, so he's going right in the middle. Again, I see a lot of stripes jumping in the middle here, and there's not really a need to. Let's stay back, write down numbers. There's nothing we can do here. And especially, we're worried obviously about all the players on the sideline here. We also have a lot of players behind us. So we have all these officials coming in. Let's worry about the players behind us too. And fights this close on the sideline, they make it really difficult too, because then you have to worry about who are sideline participants who are now choosing to participate in the fight. That makes it a little bit harder because they're not, coming onto the field. That's not what I wanted to show. That's really going on that one. So here's what happens at the end of a game. You don't know this; these are big rivalry teams. This is at the end of the game. See the team's trying to huddle, no huddle, rush a snap off. So game's over. Officials, when the game's over, get off the field. Good jobs how they're trying to get off the field. But now something's happening. This is after the field, so clock has sounded, horn has sounded, clock's at 0. Our jurisdiction is ended, and the fight breaks out. Nothing we can do at this point. White hat, make a note of it, turn into the state office. But see how you have just don't do that. You have the official in the middle of the field. He's trying to break it up. No, we're done at this point. See the man with the badge and the gun. That's what they're for. Let them handle all that. Officials, don't get involved in this. Just don't. There's nothing we can do here. Our jurisdiction is ended. You don't, especially if it was a tight game, it was real contested. You're just putting yourself at risk of stuff going on that we don't need. So at this point, I don't even know what we're writing down here. This is a state office matter at this point, because no one can be ejected from us. We can't eject anyone. The state office, they're the only ones who can levy penalties right now. The ball game's over. We can't eject anyone, not legally, or I don't say we're legally, but by the rule book, we cannot eject anyone at this point because the game's over. Nothing you can do. State, they can do stuff if they want to, but nothing we can do at this point because the game's over. Write it down. If you're white hat, just write down what happened. Yeah, there's a fight. Make sure your bosses, state office know. Sure, your signer knows, obviously. But at this point, nothing we can do because the ball game's over. So just keep that in mind. The game's over. Our jurisdiction's ended. We can't make ejections at that point. So these are tough too. These are fights right at the sideline. Again, like I said, these are tough ones because now it's hard to tell who is coming off the sideline the fight, especially when you have a change of possession like this. You would have players who are already coming off anyway to participate in the next play. Now you got a fight breaking out. This one's tough. That's why it's even more important to be away as far as you can. These officials are way too close. He doesn't need to be doing what he's doing at all. He's too close. Back up. Everyone needs to back up. Get your notepads out. Start writing down names. Do not be in the middle of this whatsoever. So this last one we want to look at, I thought was a very good job by the back judge of staying with the key when he saw that something might be about to happen here. So he throws his flag, blocking the back or something like that. And he stays with it because he sees something might be going wrong here. Also, just want to note, good job by the back judge mentally noting where the kick ended and dropping your beanbag as you get by it. We don't like throwing beanbags. It just looks bad. But good job there. And then you see, now we got this. Now we got punches. Back judge, he recognizes. Nothing we can do. I can do at this point. I'm just going to step back, start taking notes. This, like, side judge, don't run in here. Just stay back. Actually, side judge, we want you eyes on the sideline now, seeing who's coming off the sideline. Then you got these other officials coming in. Do not come in on this. There's nothing we can do. Especially don't get in the middle. You are setting yourself up to just get cold cocked. Either on purpose, accidentally, or whatever. Do not get in the middle of this. There's nothing we can do at this point. Let the coaches take care of this. We were writing down numbers of players actively participating, coming off the sideline. That is all we're doing at this point. Do not get in the middle. Then when it's over, we get together. But you see, because I don't see any notepads out right now. All 6 or 7 officials on the field need to have their notepads out. We need to be writing down numbers, because that's what we want at this point. We write down numbers, and because we gotta know who's staying in the game, who's not staying in the game. That's just things we need to know. So, all right, that is it for this one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.